sounds kind of bad. Like, I don't think we're the best at anything in the system, but I don't think any system has everything, if you know what I mean.
Mm.
Like, it's one of those, like, we probably, what I mean, if you did those sort of matrix of, what everyone can do, would probably rank second or third in across the board. Would never be below that. But, do we know other competitor who would rank all the way across on each item, whereas we would, I would say. And from my experience in using other systems, and what's out there in terms of RFPs and sales processes, but primarily from using other systems and client feedback, it really is that, like, we really are like the full suite where we have everything. And I think that's quite key for clients, particularly going forward as their clients are becoming less and less categorizable. Like, so there's no such thing as a hedge fund anymore or mutual fund anymore, realistically. I mean, they all, like, the alternative fund acquisition was like, would have been based on their portfolio and some of the riskier assets that they invested in and sort of some of the lockups and restrictions. But the retail funds are doing that, and the hedge funds are moving more. Retail have moved more to hedge alternative, and the alternative moved more to retail. Even the limited partnership private equity funds are moving more towards hedge, and vice versa. It's very much blending in. And what you get from that is you get a client who, like an investment management firm, who's our client's client, having a full suite of fund types that they need to manage. And what happens is they want all that on the one application, because if you have it all on the one application, you don't need to cross-train team members about the client, and the reporting will always be consistent coming out of the one application. You know what I mean? You're not getting your retail funds out of system A, your private equity funds out of system B, and your alternative funds out of system C, and all the reports, as much as you could make them look the same, they'll always be ever so slightly different in terms of how the look and feel of them, or how they kind of report. But because they're all coming out of the one system MTAS, there's that sort of generic look and feel to it, generic wording, convention, generic layout, generic sort of functionality, application, software. And again, that's quite key for our clients who want, for their investors, want to see consistency and, everything to kind of look the same. They don't like change.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Just actually as a point of clarification on the document you sent me, where you've broken it down to investor communication and report generation. With the investor communication, was that really sort of primarily reporting, or is there something else that other functionality?
Well, no, it's not just, it could be other attachments, it could be emails, it could be chasing up on stuff. So, if an investor sends in a subscription document, and they're missing, they haven't filled out the form properly, all that's recorded in the system, and we can automatically send out chasers to say, your subscription document wasn't signed, or, I see on we've got rules built in where we see in your subscription document, you put yourself as a US tax. So, we now need some sort of tax form. We can't actually, let's say we can send them the BENI form, but we can't. We have to just send them the IRS link, and they have to choose the form themselves. But it's sort of that sort of investor communication, as well as the actual physical statements. Because again, in terms of where we'll see it going in the next 4 or 5 years, as much as quarterly statements and subscription contract notes are still being generated by our clients, in 3 or 4 years, I don't see that being the case. I see that all being moved onto web portals where you send in the subscription document via a portal, or do the trade via some sort of website off hsbc.com. You'll get notified then that, the document is there ready for you to view it. It wouldn't be actually generated and emailed out. It'd be a case of you as an investor in 3 days' time would get notified to go back onto the website and view your document. And then, when that's confirmed again. So there'll be kind of the workflow will be moved off applications like MTAS and moved on to kind of the actual investor driven front end portals.
Gotcha. Okay. And then also in the functionality, you mentioned the AML and KYC. just talking there, obviously, sort of things around like tax forms, maybe kind of proof of identity or proof of residency or whatever it might be. Anything sort of, any other specific functionality around the AML KYC part of this?
Yeah, it's a full suite. Like you'll be meeting John Leahy as well on the product Cure.
Yeah.
Cure is a screen in NTAS essentially, so it's part of the NTAS code. Now we market it as a separate product, but in terms of an application, it's not. It uses the Cure database, or uses the NTAS database, it uses the NTAS tables, it uses all that. So I didn't go into, in terms of as an NTAS offering, we really should promote that we've AML KYC, FATCA CRS, XML, FATCA XML reporting, all of that, but I'd be sort of repeating what John's going to be telling you. But everything that John tells you in terms of Cure is part of NTAS as well.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. Okay. And then was there anything else sort of around the functionality side that you wanted to mention? I don't know if there's anything that, as you say, sort of a lot of the kind of some of the functionality like around the share registrar, I suppose has become fairly commoditized, that a lot of people doing the same kind of thing.
So yeah, what I tried to list there was the points that I try to promote in sales pitches as being also the unique selling point, or the areas that, I think we do quite well, that are solving sort of the modern pain points for our clients, being the sort of, the automation of the system, and trying to promote, as much as we might be expensive, you do us because of our straight through processing and our event-based reporting, event-based processing, you can cut your staff down by half. So you're sort of saving in that sense. Yeah.
Is there sort of anything, just for the purposes of obviously explaining it in the brief, when somebody might come along and read it, think, okay, well, I need a system. Let's have a look. Let's see what they've got. So sort of anything in terms of just those kind of core, perhaps commoditized elements that you would want to include as well, just about what the system does, just to make sure that they, as a buyer, they can tick off all the boxes that they need to show to their teams they can provide from the system.
Probably would be, I guess, in terms of, do you want to obviously we've got all the subscription types, or the sort of activity types: subscription, redemption, transfer, switch, non-crystallizing switch, bulk transactions. One thing we're actually very good at, which I actually haven't listed there actually, now that I think about it, is, I might have mentioned it further on down maybe, is in terms of, what would be the word, security, but maybe not sort of secure, but in terms of permissioning within the application. So we've got a kind of we've got dual key verification in the system. So, if Mark enters a subscription, it doesn't become an active subscription or an active order until you as a verifier rekey in all the same points. And then we compare like with like, and if you both hit the five fields that we flagged to be verified 100% accurately, we'll approve the order. If, you're out by a cent or you put a different trade date, we'll reject it. So we've got dual key functionality. We've got Four Eyes Maker Checker as well, which is the same concept, but a different way of doing it, where, Mark enters it and then you see everything that Mark enters and you just have to say, yes, it's correct. Mm-hmm. Kind of more back at the more traditional, where you would sort of tick and bash the order ticket that you'd have in front of you. So Mark will tick it as he enters in the system, then you put your red line through all his blue lines as you verify whether everything that he entered is correct. We can also ring fence, so Mark can only see certain clients' data in the system. You could have, you could see, when Mark searches for funds, he could see fund 1, 2, 3, 4, whereas you search, you could see fund 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Again, the ability to offer, read-only access. So as much as you might be in the compliance team, you might need to be able to see the orders and the transactions happening on the fund, but only in a read-only capacity, whereas Mark's in the TA team and he needs to be able to edit and delete